Vinod Kumar Mattu for giving us time. Very honorable Vice Principal, sir, faculty members, all the students from different universities. Now, am I audible properly? I think now it's okay. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I welcome all the faculty members. I welcome. I welcome all the faculty members who joined here from different colleges, from different universities. I also welcome our own faculty members from our college. I welcome our very honorable Vice Principal, sir. As you all know, that Principal, sir, has not been able to join. So we are lucky to have our Vice Principal, sir, with us. So I welcome you, sir, for taking out time and gracing this occasion. Thank you so very much. There was a network glitch, so now it's all okay. I'm really sorry for all this, what happened. Sir is here to say a few lines. Thank you all.
Good morning. A very bright, happy morning to all of you. Respected guest of honor, today's speaker, Professor Emeritus, Professor Vinod Kumar Mattu. Senior faculty members, I can see Professor Ranjana Seth here. I can see Dr. S.M. Jha. Professor Mattu, let me tell you, I know you personally, at least by name, and through Professor R.K. Seth. So I know you and your research, your place, and all these things. So I take an opportunity to welcome today's eminent speaker, Professor Mattu, the teacher in charge of Zoology Department, Dr. Manisha Senga, Deputy Star College Coordinator, Dr. Indrakant, IQSC Coordinator, Dr. Aditya Saxena. I take a special privilege to thank and welcome our dynamic principal, Professor Rajiv Agarwal, who is a constant support. I can see Dr. S.M. Jha, who has all-time inclination for teaching and learning, and I've seen him most of the time in the seminar, webinar of all the subjects. I take an opportunity to welcome all senior and young colleagues of Deshbandhu College, Zoology Department, other department, all the colleges. And at the same time, I welcome all the students ladies and gentlemen. It's really a wonderful first event in this academic session of Zoology Department with a very vibrant talk of apiculture. Let me tell you, apiculture, India toward the self-reliance. When we talk about the Atmanirbhar Bharat, when we talk about the apiculture, when we took at the diversity, when we took the regions, it has a very, very important role. But apiculture, honeybee is very, very close to my heart. Being an entomologist, being trained in this field, I can say maybe the most intelligent, most hardworking, most smart, most learned individual on this earth is honeybee. Honeybee, we look any of the aspects and the facts are astounding. If we see how hardworking an individual can be, many times in class I say, just to gather 1 pound of honeybee travel a distance twice the equator or circumference of the earth. They are given duties as per their age. If you're a child, if you're a baby honeybee, you have one set of responsibilities. As and when you grow, you are given a second set of responsibilities. And when you are mature enough, you are given to explore the world, get honey, collect nectar and make honey. So age-specific responsibilities are there. They have some of the excellent behavioral aspects. The communication, what we really boast of, honeybee are much more advanced. As far as the communication concerned, they perform dances to communicate. They use odors and scents to communicate. They use various techniques. So when we look how the male and female are born, there is a complete new story. But of course, in front of Professor Mattu, I can only speak very, very less when we have such an eminent professor with us. I think all of us are keen to hear Professor Mattu. So without taking much of the time, I give the dice to our learned organizer of the team, and desk is yours, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Kamal sir and Manisha ma'am. Your words have been very welcome here. Now I would like to ask my fellow student Akash to give a brief introduction of our honorable speaker, Dr. Mattu.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Akash Singh Chauhan, a student of third year zoology honors, would like to bring in the notice that today we have unmatchable personality with us. And when I say unmatchable, I really mean it. We have Honorable Professor Vinod K. Mattu with us as speaker of the event. Sir is Emeritus Fellow UGC in Department of Bioscience, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Sir have more than 33 years of experience in beekeeping, biodiversity, and sociobiology. He has also been on the post of Chairman Haryana Kisan Ayog, Director of Institute of Integrated Himalayan Studies, Chairman of Department of Biosciences, Himachal Pradesh University, Senior Vice President of Association of Entomologists, and international expert on beekeeping and biodiversity. Sir has been awarded with Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015, ZSI Award, Bharat Excellence Award, IAES Award, and many more. He has served on the post of President, Convener, and Executive Member in institutions like Asian Apiculture Association, Japan, Himachal Pradesh Biodiversity Board, International Union of Study of Social Insects, Netherlands, International Task Force on Beekeeping Development in Asia at Extra. Sir has chaired many international and national conferences and has 7 books, 27 thematic papers, monographs, and 264 research papers published under his name. And the list of his achievements continues to the heights of the sky. Sir, we have really very fortunate to have you with us today. Now, I would like to formally welcome you to please take over the mic and to soothe our excitement and enlighten us with your peaceful words. Over to you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Most respected Professor Kamal K. Gupta ji, Vice Principal of the college. First of all, I thank him for such nice words he spoke for me. I am, with the blessing of Almighty God, today I am here to address or to give a special lecture on apiculture, a way forward for self-reliant India. I am feeling privileged that I am giving a lecture to DBT Star College. So I thank all the coordinators, then Pavitra Sharma, convener, and special mention of Dr. Ranjana Seth, which introduced me to this department. So already we have wasted much time, so I will come directly to it. A very good morning to all of you. And I also address a number of galaxy of teachers are joining from different colleges I was not knowing, and dear students. Before going into the main topic, I was interested to do something about biodiversity. We say biodiversity is represented by God's family living under a single roof. We say Vasudevaya Kutumbakam. Scientifically speaking, biodiversity means the variety of life on Earth, whether it is genetic diversity, variety within species, species diversity, variety between species, ecosystem diversity, variety of ecosystem. It is all based upon animals, plants, and microbe. You all know that. Friends, estimated total species vary from 5 to 30 million, and number of described species are more than 1.77 million. It has taken 3.5 billion years for this biodiversity to evolve, but all of we know that we are rapidly destroying it. In fact, Lord Krishna was the first known environmentalist who asked people not to worship him, but to worship mountains, rivers, plants, etc., etc. Otherwise, also, everybody loves the beauty of the nature. Everybody loves fragrance of flowers, beautiful bees, butterflies, birds, wildlife, rivers, mountains, etc. Friends, these beautiful gifts of nature that we have to, given by nature, we have to take care of. That's why somebody has rightly said, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but we borrow it from our children. Regarding the use of biodiversity, I will hardly cover it. Biodiversity, all of you know that has direct and indirect value. Directly as food and agriculture, medicine, industry, approximately 80,000 plants are of immense value to us. Even today, 10 to 20 species provide 20 to 90% of food requirements of the world, and 60 to 70% of modern medicines, particularly Ayurvedic medicines, they are derived from it. Beside it, they are giving fuel, fodder, shelter, etc. Dear friends, nature has provided us with free lunch, but only if we control our appetites. He has given free lunch, but we have to control our appetite. You understand it? Because this lecture I prepared keeping in view the young students. Biodiversity also has aesthetic and recreational values. Indirectly, ecosystem services provided by biodiversity are in the form of pollination, transpiration, climate regulation, etc., etc. Therefore, conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity is fundamental to ecological sustainable development. In fact, the very survival of all of us or mankind is totally dependent upon biodiversity. Dear friends, we only know the worth of water till the well is dry. Despite increased efforts of biodiversity conservation, it is still we are losing it. Briefly, I will say something about Indian biodiversity. I think India is one of the richest nations of the world as far as biodiversity is concerned. We are one of the 18 recognized mega diversity countries, and we contribute 8% of the total global biodiversity. We are a repository of more than 1 lakh animal species. We are lucky to have 4 hotspots: Eastern Himalayas, Western Ghats, Indo-Myanmar landscape, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Also, we have a extensive network of protected areas covering about more than 4.76% of total geographic area. We are lucky to have 565 wildlife sanctuaries, 52 tiger reserves, and 31 elephant reserves. As I come from Himachal, although at present I am not in Shimla, so we are having a World Heritage Great Himalayan National Park. If you visit Kulu sometime, you must visit that Great Himalayan National Park. Now, loss of biodiversity. Why we are worried about loss of biodiversity? Because it is a significant issue now for scientists, policymakers, nodal agencies. Because species are becoming extinct at the fastest rate known in the geographical history, and it is mainly related to us, that is the human beings. IUCN estimates say that only half of the present species will survive to see the 22nd century. Therefore, UN Assembly declared 2011 to 2020 to 2020 as decade of biodiversity. And seeing the importance is extended again 2020 as super biodiversity year. Now we are in 21 to 30, that is decade of ecosystem restoration. Why so much focus was given on biodiversity? It was mainly on conservation, whether it is plant or animals, sustainable utilization, and most important was the sharing of benefits. Whatever knowledge we are giving in the laboratories or anywhere, we have to share with the common man. Much of research has been done, but we have to share with the common man. Now, hurriedly, I will tell you what are the major challenges, why we are losing our biodiversity. All of you know that habitat loss is one of the main, alteration in ecosystem composition, whether it is desertification, deforestation, introduction of exotic species in honeybees also, pesticidal toxicity, environmental pollution, whether it is air, water, noise pollution, then melting of glaciers, malnutrition, very important factor in India, overexploitation of bioresources, number of diseases, pests. We have seen the COVID impact recently. Then moreover, global climate change. Timberline is changing. We are in the Himalayas, so we can feel there that how it is affecting. Then biowar or bioterrorism. Now, recently we see the COVID, when it is a question of debate whether it was that, but we have to face such things in future also. Because we say this century belongs to information technology and biotechnology, and biodiversity is the basis of biotechnology. So friends, we cannot command nature except by obeying her. We cannot command nature, we have to obey her. Therefore, father of nation Mahatma Gandhi ji said, let's be the change we want to see in the world. Now coming to my main topic, apiculture. If we want to define apiculture in simple terms, it is for students. Apiculture is rearing and management of honeybees for the production of different hive products or bee products. We all know that bees and beekeeping are known to us since prehistoric times. Our ancient pious scriptures like Vedas and Upanishads are full of description about honeybees. Even in Quran, there is a special mention about honey and honeybees. In Mahabharata, you know the story of Lakshagre. There also beeswax was one of the component. Egyptians, they used to preserve their dead bodies, which we say mummies. There also their role of the bee products, so on and so forth. There are so many things in the ancient scriptures. Now, if we want to define apiculture in true sense, according to J.V. Free, which is the well-known entomologist from UK, apiculture is the conservation and management of honeybees for the production of honey and other hive products. So, honeybee teaches self-reliance, self-preservation, and self-sustainability. We are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat now, self-reliance, but honeybee have done it many years back. Now, apiculture, why beekeeping is important? It is a non-land-based income-generating activity is and becoming fastly an important component of present-day strategies for integrated rural development and off-farm employment. We have seen in COVID what was the importance of employment. The role of beekeeping in improving the subsistence economy of farmers and fruit growers cannot be overlooked, and it has always been linked with the socio-economic, cultural, religious, and natural heritage of communities living in rural India. Moreover, bees and beekeeping provide free ecosystem services in the form of the cross-pollination, which has been ignored for many years now. Every focus is given on cross-pollination. Even in Himachal Pradesh, government gives instructions that you have less high products, but you go for pollination of apple. Beekeeping is destined to play a crucial role in the present context of commercialization of agriculture and liberalization of Indian economy. That's why our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, in his speech on Independence Day this year, has a special mention about beekeeping from the Red Fort. Now, why honeybees are so important? Because of three reasons: that they give us a number of high products or bee products like honey, which is known as golden wonder, beeswax, which is a very another important product. As the lecture will proceed, I will discuss in details. Royal jelly, wonderful product secreted by hypopharyngeal glands. Propolis, although it is not a bee product, it is brought by bees from the trees to seal their crevices in hives. Bee venom, very wonderful product. Although we are scared of bees, bee stings, but we don't know the importance of bee venom. Pollen, although it is not a product of bees, but the pollen brought by bees is known as bee bread. And some says as the population explosion is going on, it will be food for the nature, food for the future. Indirectly, it has been a part of our cultural heritage. It is a very, as Drosophila is important in genetics, similarly, honeybees are very important in entomological research, as told by Dr. Gupta recently. Then, a number of ecological processes, crop productivity, enhancing biodiversity, and evolutionary process. And thirdly, it has been also known as the bioindicator of environmental pollution. Now, why beekeeping is so important? There are 25 to 30 points. I will enlist only few. It provides food and cash income, does not require ownership of land. It can be done on small scale, medium scale, or large scale. It can provide you gainful employment close to home. You can do your job also, and you can side by practice beekeeping. Then it promotes cooperation within the family. When all members are working together, it promotes cooperation. It does not require big investment, and technology is also not very difficult. It is a source of earning of the foreign exchange. At present, India is number 2 in Asia in honey production. China is number 1 and 7th at the world ranking. So there are many others. Now coming to honeybee species, or most of the books at college level, they are writing there only 4 species, although we have 4 to 9 species. Out of these, first is the Indian high bee, which is our indigenous bee, Apis cerana fabricius, which is native to this country, found both wild and domesticated. Then there is a European bee, Apis mellifera. It is not indigenous, it is exotic. It was introduced by Professor Atwal. He was dean at PAU Ludhiana, in mid 60s, and in early 90s, it was introduced in South India. At that time, we were very happy, but now some problems are coming due to it. I will discuss later on. Then rock bee, Apis dorsata. You must have seen rock bee. It is very ferocious. They generally live in the wild state in the forest. If you go to Bangalore, in University of Agricultural Sciences, there is a spot where hundred of bee nests are on a tree. It has become a tourist spot. Then little bee Apis florea. It is about the palm of the hand of size. It is also white. So we have three indigenous, that is Apis cerana, Apis dorsata, and Apis florea, and only one exotic, that is Apis mellifera. Besides this, we have many other species like Apis laborosia from Nepal and Arunachal Pradesh, Apis koshnekovai from Malaysia, which is known as red bee. I hope that many of you must have not seen red honeybees in India, because it was reported by a beekeeper, and later on it was named by German scientists. So due to paucity of time, I cannot go in details. Apis andreniformis from China, Nulensis nigrosancta. These are all new species of honeybees which have been reported. So still some textbooks are writing that Apis dorsata is the biggest and Apis florea is the smallest. But now it has changed. Apis laborosia is the biggest and Apis andreniformis is the smallest. So friends, if we see this diversity, I always quote, we are poor people living in a rich country. It is not only we. Any faunal, floral resources, bioresources you see, we are rich, but economically we are poor. We have to think of these lines that it is not only our job, it is government job and everybody's job. Now, honeybees are reared in two ways. Most of you must have seen the traditional hives, whether they are in the walls or log hives. Now, number of clay pitchers, tree barks, cave hives, bamboo hives, they are used in Northeast India. But now we are going for the modern beekeeping. So best combination is both of traditional and modern. Modern hive was given by Langstroth. He was not a scientist. He was a simple person, but he has the innovative qualities. So after that, his name is Langstroth hive. It is generally used for Apis mellifera. For our species Apis cerana, we use ISI villager hive, that is known as ISO 9001. And top bar hives, they were not India till many years. Now they are also becoming popular. They are above the ground to prevent them from the attack of diseases, pests, etc. Now, what is the status of beekeeping industry? It is very, very important because we have faced 2 years of COVID. Still, it is going on. In our country, if we see worldwide, the honey production is 1,850,000 tons. India production is 68,000 tons. We have more than 2 million bee colonies. If we see state-wise, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka, they are leading in honey production. In North India, Punjab is much ahead of all other states. HP is also contributing a little bit. So why southern states are more contributing? It is not that I have studied the genetic diversity of these species from different parts of the Himalayas and other parts of the South India also. Our strain in North India is better, but there it is Apis dorsata. Due to the presence of Apis dorsata, they are having more honey production. As per the latest report of National Commission on Agriculture, there is a potential for sustaining 150 million bee colonies in India, and estimated honey production will be 1.5 lakh tons. You can imagine it, giving employment to 15 million, more than 15 million, whether it is in rural areas or tribal areas. Though now different organizations working on this, whether they are Khadi and Village Industry Commission, boards, ICAR, we have a All India Coordinated Research Project. It is working in different agriculture universities, then ministries, commercial organizations. We have a All India Beekeeper Association. We have a National Bee Board recently constructed. Then we are also, APIDA is also helping us, which is Export Developmental Agency, not for only beekeeping, for other things, then different NGOs and cooperatives. Now coming to the high products, honey, as I told you, it is the first known sweetener on this earth, mainly made of fructose, around about 38%, glucose is 34%. Although it can vary from place to place and species. Then beside it, it has vitamins, minerals, enzymes, amino acids, etc., along with the moisture. It You have seen that during COVID, there was a great demand for honey. Why? Because it is antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. Now, there are a number of uses of honey. I will briefly tell you because of the short of time. It can be used as food for infants in invalids, whether it is used in the form of candy, jams, spreads, tea, coffee, baked products. Baking industry has a lot of scope in baking industry. In India, our research has been mainly focused on honey and beeswax, I will tell you, but not on other high products. Now we are picking up it. You must have heard about honey lemon oil, ginger honey, mango honey drink, honey amla drink, honey coconut burfi. They are all being used in Western world since long time in Australia, US, and European countries. But now we are also getting some from Amazon and shopping malls. We can get. Then this honey can be used in breakfast along with apricots, prunes, or flaxseed. Everybody knows now LC because it dissolves cholesterol, walnuts, etc., etc. Honey spread are very common in or famous in foreign countries, but now we are also having peanut spread, butter spread, freeze dried cheese spread, etc. in our country also. Then it is also used in chawanprash and gulakan. Then as a medicine, enormous. We say दादी नानी के नुस्खे. आज हिंदी दिवस है तो थोड़ी हिंदी भी बोलनी पड़ेगी because we are having Hindi दिवस. So honey is used in the more than 68 products. They are made out of honey, whether they are cough syrups, healing ointments, eye drops. You must have heard about Medi honey, Medi soft, Manuka honey, diabetic honey. The number of diseases which can be cured, whether it is kidney, liver, whether rheumatism, burns, arthritis. So some people say that diabetic patients can use honey, but my personal view is you don't use honey if you are diabetic. Use only on the prescription of the doctor because sometimes problems are created in some persons. Then cosmetic industry, lot of scope in cosmetic industry for making skin creams, dermy creams, soaps, shampoos, face packs, etc., etc. All these products, why they are important in this cosmetic? Because it protects our skin from fungal and bacterial infection. Then as a preservative also, the various food items can be preserved because of its antimicrobial properties. And for example, in meat industry. Nowadays, we know that there is a time of value addition. Everything is not now singly used, it is value added. Even UGC is having add-on courses. So honey is now need of the country is for future generation, the students, that they can, if they are interested in apiculture, they can work on these value added products. Then in religious ceremony, you know that whether Hindu, Sikhs, or Jain, these days we are we are remembering our grandparents through shrouds. There, Panditji always give you a list, honey is there. Now, beeswax, another very important product, which is used in more than 300 products of common use. Some of the important are paints, polishes, inks, lipsticks, shampoos, hair conditioners, ointments, creams, sun protective devices, detergents, adhesives, etc., etc. Then hair waxing formulations, physiotherapy. It is very common these days, especially for people like us, which are senior citizens. Then electrical items. Then other important product is pollen. Although I told you in the beginning, pollen is brought by bee is different from the pollen in the field. So it is a immunobooster. It reduces stress. It is antifungal, antiviral, hepatoprotective, even anti-cancerous in some cases, and used in different forms. Next is the wonderful product, royal jelly. It is secretion of the hypophagia glands, and it is immunobooster, having a lot of antioxidants, can be used in large scale in pharmaceutical industry. Nowadays, we are talking about startups and entrepreneurships because the present government is giving more focus on entrepreneurship and startups. So there, the role of the royal jelly is coming because still in India, very few persons are working on royal jelly. Then bee venom. Although we are scared of stings, but bee venom is a very important product. You must have not heard some of the students apitherapy. It is a part of biotechnology. What is apitherapy? Apitherapy is pure without the pure with the pure by bee products without using any medicines because we are fed up with the medicines, whether they are allopathic or others, because of their side effects. If you go to US, there is a bee lady in the US, which is very, very popular. So bee venom can use for many things. Bee sting therapy is very, very important. Even one of my friend who has retired from HAU, he tried on his wife and he was successful in curing her rheumatic problems. Then propolis. Propolis is also very important product which bees bring. It is hepatoprotective, antiviral, fungal, bacterial. Anti-aging, it has a very important effect, anti-aging. Nowadays, everybody wants to look smart and delay the aging, which is very good, but it is a natural process. We cannot delay it, but something can be done with propolis. Then anti-dandruff shampoo. Everybody wants that there should be hairs on the bald. So anti-dandruff shampoos, soaps, creams, then many other things in the different industries. Now coming to the pollinators, the second role the honeybees have, high products, then pollinators. Over 75% of major world crops and 80% of the all flowering plant species rely on animal pollinators. Out of this, most important is the honeybee. Out of 25,000 to 30,000 species of bees. Besides, we have also moths, butterflies, wasps, beetles, etc., which are playing a very important role. Then there we have also vertebrate pollinators like bats, hummingbirds, monkeys, squirrels. So I say always there are 4 P which are important: pollination, productivity, prosperity, and peace. If there is more productivity, if there is more prosperity, there will be peace. Whatever we are doing for the peace. So here the role of honey is very important. If we go into the data of diversity, I am not going in detail. Honeybees are at the top of all the pollinators with pollinating more than 80% of the crop, followed by flies, bats, etc. Thus, pollinators or honeybees are essential for diet diversity, biodiversity, and maintenance of natural resources. Impressed by it, our former president Abdul Kalam ji always said that we should have a second green revolution. And our renowned scientist M. Swaminathan ji, who is now in 90s, he said, I want evergreen revolution. So these are very important for diet diversity, biodiversity, maintenance of natural resources, food security, food diversity, human nutrition, and food prices all depend upon animal pollinators. They also play a very important role in wildlife, and some say that they can also mitigate the climate change which we are facing these days. Now, I will not go in technical details because one lecture can be given only on pollinators. We have different groups: Hymenoptera, having honeybees, bumblebees, wasps, helictis, then dipterans, having syrphids, muscids, aristellis, metacirphus, etc., lepidopterans, coleopterans, hemipterans, thysanopterans. But from apiculture point of view, especially in the Hindu Kush Himalayas, the main role is by honeybees along with other hymenopterans, and dipterans are also playing a very important role in some places. To sum up, I want to say that beside they are saying, they're crying, the pollinators or honeybees, that beside giving valuable products, we are excellent pollinators, but make best use of us. But we are not hearing them. We are exploiting them. Although we gave number of slogans, but still everybody knows. No, what are the advantages? Why honeybee is so important? because its body parts are specially modified to pick up the pollen grains due to the process of floral fidelity and constancy. Floral fidelity is visiting the same flower again and again. In Himachal Pradesh, apple is not a favored crop by honeybees, but we have a system of managed crop pollination. What is managed crop pollination? We put the bee colonies at the time of before flowering in the field, and they are forced to go on that because honeybee has the character that it continuously visit one crop till it is exhausted. Their potential for long working hours, you can see they're working from dawn to dusk. That's why I say to students, be busy like a bee if you want to get progress in your life. Thorough micro manipulation of flowers, they thoroughly micro manipulate and they can adjust to different climates and niches. Based on beekeeping, we have divided different crops into 6 categories. We say bee pollinated crops, whether they are vegetables like carrot, radish, cabbage, etc., oil seeds, sarson, toria, sunflower, etc., pulses and forage crops like lisine, berseem, clovers, etc. Then fruit, everybody likes fruits, orange, apple, pear, peach, plum, etc. They are all dependent on honeybees. Beside it, forest and avenue trees like neem, very important plant, eucalyptus. Whole of the Australian industry is dependent on eucalyptus. Although in India, some problem came due to water table, so they stopped planting eucalyptus. Acacia, thorn, sesame, robinia. Honeybees mostly prefer the wild plants, not the ornamental plants. Besides this, we have other crops like cotton, coffee, and if you visit the mid-Himalayan region in Hindu Kush Himalayas, whether it is Himachal, Jammu Kashmir, or even Pakistan or any place, there is a plant known as Plectranthus that is commonly known as Shane. If you get the chance to taste its honey, you will feel wonderful, wonderful flavor, wonderful aroma. Now, regarding the economic value of honeybee pollen, because it is indirect services, but we have most of the data from European countries or US or Canada, but we have no data from India. But from AC mode, there is an institute in Nepal, which is covering all Hindu Kush Himalayas. They have recently given a data that honeybees indirect due to indirect pollination services, the benefit is from 235 to 577 billion dollars worldwide based on only 4 crops. Otherwise, if we see the annual income from honey and beeswax, it is more than 280 million US dollars. So you can compare where billion and million. So different governments, Himachal was the first to do it. Now J&K, Uttarakhand, other areas are also doing that. They're going for pollination or managed crop pollination. So their data, some say it is 10 to 15 times, some say it is 113 times the value of bee products. Now, question of worries. During the last 20 years, I have seen that there is a decline in bee population in the whole of the Himalayan belt. Why it is declining? Changing land use practices. And main reasons are habitat loss. You know, habitat loss is not responsible for honeybees, other animals also. Fire, fragmentation, overgrazing, recreation, etc. Then excessive and indiscriminate use of chemical pesticides. Farmers, although some are educated in Punjab and other states, but many states they are not so educated. They are having a mindset that we should use excessive and without discriminating. They go for cheap pesticides, although they are recommended by horticulture. Himachal Pradesh has made horticulture industry only due to this, that there was a horticulture and forestry scope. In other, also Uttarakhand now horticulture university is working. So, but farmers' mindset has changed. It is duty of all, not only of government, NGOs and other agencies. Then deforestation, you know that it is one of the factors. Then monoculturing. People always go for now cash crops. It is also posing a problem. It is one of the reasons for decline of pollinators. Then unawareness in farmers and general public about utility of pollinators. Although honeybees everybody knows, but other pollinators they don't know, which are also important in playing a role in pollination and productivity. No special efforts have been made for conservation of native pollinators. That keeping in with this Jeff, the UN agency started a few years back the project, and we are in 9 countries. There were 7 centers in India, and we are lucky to have one center at our university. And we worked a lot for 4 years how to protect them from the decline. Then forest fires, natural calamities, and now we have global warming or climate change. You know that in Croatia, a small country, in June 2020, 50,000 bees died all of a sudden. Nobody knew what is the reason. It may be due to climate change. Everybody said it may be climate change. Then lack of the promotional policies. Every government tried, whether this government or previous government, but much has not been done in our country. Now, what are the issues we are facing in apiculture? Development of a knowledge-based database in terms of diversity, distribution, relative abundance, etc., and their molecular characterization. We have very few. Then we have to monitor the decline of wild and domesticated pollinators, causes and its impact on pollination services. Why they are declining? Then competition of exotic. I told you that mellifera when came to India, we were very happy, but later on we have to compete because Apis mellifera came from cold climate, but here it cannot adjust in cold climates. Then we finally there were two school of thought. One said we should go for Apis mellifera, other said we should go for Apis cerana. But now we have consensus that they are complementary to each other. That higher altitude Apis cerana is more successful, and lower altitude mellifera should be used. Then assessing the socio-economic value of pollinator. Now you know we are living in an era of multidisciplinary, and we have now new education policy also. There also it is focused that we have to do the multidisciplinary research and we have to do all multidisciplinary. The socio-economic value is very, very important. We know our former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri ji gave a slogan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Then when Atalji came, he added Jai Vigyan. And now Modi is here recently in this Independence Day also, he repeated Jai Anusandhan. So, but we have to be, we are good preachers, but we are not good practitioners. I have no inhibition in saying that, including myself. We are good preachers. हम शिक्षा तो बहुत देते हैं लेकिन उसको follow नहीं करते. So they need to identify, document, and disseminate innovative technology and ITK practices. ITK, indigenous technology knowledge. I was lucky to attend that meeting when Vajpayee was the Prime Minister and this ITK was started. Before that, there were lab to land program, land to lab program, but they said that there are certain farmers which are innovative, and whatever research or whatever work we are doing in laboratories, if it is not going to common men, then what is the use? Whether we can get degrees, whether MPhil or PhD, but it should go to farmers, fruit growers, and extension workers. So there is a need for capacity building and awareness raising in terms of management plans, as you are today doing with your Eco Club. So it is duty of all of us, whether we are at primary level, secondary level, or tertiary level. We have to educate our farmers, fruit growers, and other people about the utility of apiculture. Now, what are some of the strategies for conservation and management of pollinators? First is the habitat conservation. It is the most important, not only for bees, for others. If you go to any city, there are a lot of stray cattle, dogs, monkeys. If you come to Shimla, you will see so many monkeys sitting on the ridge. Then discouraging excessive and indiscriminate use of pesticides. We have to train farmers. We have to create awareness that use proper dose recommended by different agencies. Then avoiding pesticide application. What is happening in Himalayan region? They are spraying pesticides during the blooming period of temperate fruit crops. Then promoting organic farming. That Sikkim became the first organic state. Our previous governor, Honorable Governor, he is now in Gujarat. He was very interested in organic farming. Then came the concept, now Government of India gave the concept of natural farming. It has come from his mind only because he has created a very good Gurukul near Kurukshetra. If you visit, later on he became governor. So he also emphasized on zero budget farming, although it is not possible. Then adoption of pollinator friendly management practices. We have to adopt such practices like As we have FP forestry, why we can't have this? Sorry, we have social forestry. Why we can't have FP forestry as in European countries? When we plant trees, we can keep in mind that roadside or avenue trees will be such which are helpful to bees also. Then awareness raising. This is very, very important in our country. Then managed crop policy, I discussed with you that as an input, it is very, very important. Then strengthening the R&D system. Although there are different companies like Dabur, Patanjali, Vedanath, they are coming and government agencies are also, but you know that most of the samples always fail. Although they are not toxic, but they are not having sufficient. And you are reading from Sunita Narayan, you are hearing that he writes directly to different countries and send samples different and fail. But general public think that they are toxic. They are not toxic, but they are not having full requirement. They are lesser impact. Now, therefore, I say beekeeping is very, very important. Now, some of the bottlenecks I will not go in detail. Just one need is commercialization of beekeeping industry. We have to go for more number of colonies, as I told you by latest report. Then adoption of scientific beekeeping. Most of the beekeepers in our country are not doing scientific beekeeping. Then migratory beekeeping practices. Generally, we have one or two crops in a year. Mostly areas one crop in a year. But if we do migratory beekeeping, then we can have 4 crops in a year. You can see how much honey and other things we can do, and we have pollination services. And here I am feeling proud that Himachal Pradesh is the first state in the country which started migratory beekeeping. Now J&K is also doing, Uttarakhand is also doing, other parts are also doing. Then there is a problem with processing, packaging, and marketing honey. Now you can see in market by Dabur and others, they are good packages, but common farmer, you think about common farmer, which is producing it. Actually, there's a middleman who is earning. In every industry, it is happening that neither consumer is getting good at low price, neither farmer is getting good price. Only middleman is having more of the money. So most of the farmers are facing problem with this processing, packaging, and marketing. They cannot have such money to push the honey plant, etc. Then there is a need, as we have butterfly parks, we can have honeybee parks. We don't have much of honey diseases testing laboratory, although Central Bee Research and Training Institute at Pune had developed some diagnostic things, but they are not available for common man. Then there is no coordination among government, beekeeping agency, and this is very, very important. In our country, left hand does not know what is the right hand is doing. Coordination among government, beekeeping agency, and RD organizations are very, very important. Then upgrading beekeeping extension and HRD component. I have seen during the last few years that only few people or few students are coming for research on beekeeping. They are going to biotechnology, biochemistry. It is good, but we cannot leave such a resource which is eco-friendly. You have to do nothing and they are not disturbing your environment. Then financial resource, it is involved everywhere. Without money, you cannot do anything. Then one important is bridging knowledge practice gap that I told you earlier. Knowledge and practice gap is there. Then during the last so many years, we could not get special independent status for beekeeping industry. It is under KVIC. We always said it should be under ICAR. We have tried so many things, but still it is under that. When it gets the independent status, it will grow more. Then epitherapy. There is a need for going for epitherapy. Then capacity building. You know, capacity building is very, very important. Now, coming to the opportunities for young students, what are the opportunities? Now, we have, Dr. Gupta said in the beginning that Atmanirbhar Bharat. This government has given self-reliant India, vocal for local. So here the role of honeybee is very important, along with other pollinators. We can have our options in food sector. We can have very value-added products, health sector, in pharmaceutical industries, Ayurveda, homeopathic, etc., etc. Then, if you do degree in apiculture, whether MPhil and PhD, most of the southern states, even in North India also, you can go for teaching, research and extension. Then organic products. I told you honey, beeswax, pollen, medicinal values and other things. That Europe and other countries are ahead of us. Then we always talk of women empowerment, and there is a need for this also. Women empowerment by involving the rural women, especially tribal women, so that they can earn, they can also become independent. And moreover, now we are living in digital world. We say we are in digital world. When we were in college, we were never hearing about startups. And although entrepreneurship was there, but startups were not. Unicorn was a new word for us. So there are so many things being done by this government. Stand up India, make in India, made for the world. Earlier government also did very wonderful jobs. Then ecotourism. You know that ecotourism had an enormous scope, and here the role of honey is very, very important. We can organize honey shows. We can do, because honey at this stage we have crossed the, now senior citizen, we realize health is the most important wealth. You may have so money, but if you don't have health, nothing is there. Then defense sector, government is now focusing on defense sector also. Besides this, there are also many uses. I briefly, because of the time, I told you briefly. Important scientist Albert Einstein, he said that if pollinators disappeared off the surface of the globe, mankind would only have 4 years left to live. Only 4 years. No more bees, no more pollination, no more crops, no more animals, no more human beings. So it is my request that friends, pollinators are our good friends, so kindly conserve them. Lastly, I want to give some message to the students that young students, we are lucky to have the maximum youth in our country. If you see Japan, maximum population of old people. There's a ministry of loneliness also in Japan. We don't have such thing in India. Please try to prove different from others. Whether you are in any discipline, whether you are in entomology, whether you are in cytogenetics, whether parasitology, try to prove different from others. Only then try to excel in your field. There is no place for no mediocres. Although if you are a sportsman, go for sport. New education policy has given emphasis on this skill development only. So excel in your field. Then follow human values. Although internet is very, very important for us these days, but we have to follow the bioethics. We don't go for cut and paste. So we have to follow the human values. Then most important is be innovative. I told you in the middle that Langstroth, who gave the hives for bees in UK, he was not a scientist. You can have many examples in different fields of, it is only related to apiculture. So think out of the box. You can go for startups. In our times, we used to go for government jobs. Now the students are, or young generation is trying to give the jobs. But during post this COVID time, we face a lot of problems. So thank you very much for patient hearing by all faculty and students. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Good afternoon, honorable speaker, respected teachers, and everyone present here. I, Gautam Baveja, student of second year Zoology Honours, would like to thank you on behalf of all the attendees for enlightening us with your knowledge and wisdom. Sir, now I would like to ask for your permission for a Q&A session, as the students have many questions wanting to fill their curiosity.
Okay.
First question is, many important crops such as apples, pears, and brassica are pollinated by bees.
Yeah.
Many important crops such as apples, pears, and brassica are pollinated by bees.
Your voice is not audible. Can you
Yes.
can you repeat your question, please?
Many important, yeah. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Many important crops such as apples, pears, and brassica are pollinated by bees. However, these crops are sprayed by numerous pesticides and insecticides, which
Right.
affect the health of the bees.
Yeah, yeah.
How can we pollinate these crops without harming the bees while protecting them from the pests?
Yeah, yeah. It is a very good question. Actually, I skipped this part. I was because of following because time management is also important. Now, what we do, we can use night sprays instead of day sprays. Then we can keep colonies at a distance because otherwise also we don't keep Apis mellifera and Apis cerana together. If we do that, then there is a problem of robbing. The Apis mellifera attacks the Apis cerana. Then we have many other things. We can add some repellents. So many techniques are there by which we can protect the bees. And that's why I told that we have to create awareness in farmers. Only then we can protect both these pollinators, because on one hand, human health, faunal health, and animal health is also important. On other hand, productivity is also important. You know, in our country, presently, was not to say this, 30% of the people are going to bed with a single meal. On the other side, we have a huge production. We have no storage capacity. So I did not wanted to say it, but you have asked question. So I have no inhibition. Thank you very much for asking good question.
Thank you, sir. The next question is, how can local apiarists protect their bees from pests and predators such as hornets and wasps?
Yeah, yeah. This is also a good question. I have skipped all these. It was there because but take we can speak for 2 hours. Hornets or wasp is a big problem, especially with Apis mellifera. Here, our species is better than Apis mellifera. There in Japan, there was a Professor Sakagami. He developed a technique. His first paper came from him that honeybee, Apis cerana, they make a crowd against the hornet, and due to the heat of the, it is killed. But Apis mellifera cannot protect. And at present, only method is mechanical method, best method. It is mainly comes after rainy season in Himalayan, in other parts or different seasons. So we have mechanical. We have tried the different type of traps are there, but they are not so successful. If you leave a colony for 2 hours without any inspection, they will kill it out. They will take all the bees out of it. This is the condition. So it can be done only. So far, no technology has been evolved. So in this field, somebody can work. Thank you so much. Any other question?
Yeah. The next question is, bees biodiversity itself serve as an indicator to the health of and change in ecosystem, as they can sense slight change in the environment. But how do we measure their changes as they happen over time? And how can we say that habitat loss is not the factor of their decline?
Yeah, it is also very relevant question. I told you they are bioindicator of environmental pollution. You have heard about the acid rains. Have you heard about yellow rains? Do you
Yes,
know
sir.
what are yellow rains? Yellow rains was nothing in United States many years back. People saw that lot of bees are dying, coming out. It is long back. So they saw because it was pollen along with bees which are dying. So it was named as yellow rains. And it was because honeybee is one of the sensitive. As you know that there are many animals. As we हम जैसे बोलते हैं कि अगर dog, although we say we are orthodox, but dog, cats, they can smell that some event is coming. Similarly, honeybees, they can also act as the indicators of any problem coming there. So they are very sensitive to environment. Now, what has happened due to mobile towers? This is one of the main factors for decrease in the population. We have also conducted studies on this, but still we are not sure how much loss is done by that. So we are not published it. So there are so many factors which are doing this. Any other question, please?
Can genetic engineering be employed to create a docile variant of bees with high production of honey?
Yeah. Now I again tell you a very interesting story. There is a well, you must not have heard. There are Brazilian scientist Professor Kerr. His student is in every laboratory of the world, but only Carl Frisch got the Nobel Prize in 1973 for dancing and languages. So far, only one Nobel Prize in honeybee. He could not get the Nobel Prize because there was a story. He worked in Brazil. He took African bees. They are very ferocious. They are also especially for strains. Took to US, and unknowingly the bees escaped and he was put behind the bars. Then human organization came in, then he was released. Then he developed such a strain which has most productive and least fatal. So such studies have been conducted in different parts of the world. So it can be done. And I told you molecular characterization when I was telling you this. In India, very few labs are doing molecular characterization. As you are DBT Star College, I also had the opportunity few years back to attend a DBT meeting because firstly we have only DST, then DBT came. DBT recognized after many years. Most of the focus were on sericulture, silkworm. Then you must have heard Professor Raghavinder Gadekar. He is Indian Institute of Science. He got the Shanti Swarup Bhattacharya Award also. Under his chairmanship, a committee was made. I was lucky to be executive member. Then we worked how these tiny creatures can help us in increasing the crop production or honey production and other things. So everything is possible. And this is what I think as you are saying, think out of the box. If you are innovative, you can do wonders. You see any program on TV or other. I was seeing Corporate Crorepati 2 days back. A blind lady won 25 lakhs. It is not that. His father told that he was intelligent, but by birth he was blind. There's so many examples. If you have the will, there is a way. So that is my message for the young generations. Any other question, please?
So we know that you would like to answer all the questions, but due to paucity of time, we have
No,
to
you
conclude.
can ask. It is with the permission of the chair, because we have to take the permission of the chair, vice principal sir and other dignitaries.
Due to global warming and climate change, the occurrence of fungal diseases such as chalk brood disease has increased. How can we prevent the honeybees from being infected under these unavoidable circumstances?
No, here also again, all these I have escaped because of shortage of time. What has happened due to climate change? Timberline is changing. Before COVID, there was a report from Himachal Government Directorate. During the last 11 years, it was a least production in 2018. Then COVID came in 2019. On the other hand, if you have heard of Kinnaur, that is highest altitude, last apple they come from Kinnaur. There it has increased. And people thought, what is the reason? In lower valleys, they are decreasing, but higher because timberline is changing. You know that it is changing everywhere. So, same thing is happening due to the climate in so many things. And sometimes, if we don't have any answer for anything, we say climate change. As doctors in hospitals, if they find any thing for cure, they say he is under stress. So nobody can imagine whether stress is there or not. And COVID, we have seen how many people we have left. Many of our good scientists, even I remember them these days, Professor Raval from GB Pant Institute, Professor Joshi from Haridwar, Professor Kardar from Aligarh Muslim. So many friends we have lost due to this. So there is a lot of need, and COVID has taught us many lessons.
Yeah. So the next question is, what is the preference of depth of flowers by various honeybee species?
I forget. You asked about chalk brood disease. Chalk brood disease is not so common in India. It is in European countries. Now I tell there is a small mite, Varroa mite. Still in India we are safe, but in coming years it may cause damage to us. Varroa mite, it has caused huge loss in US. Whole of the research is there concentrated on bee pathology. You know, US also have good honey production among the first 5 countries. So small mite, you can imagine. So we were the first from Himachal Pradesh report this varroa mite in Chamba. We found accidentally one of my student now who is in police department. He is on a very SSP. He was the student who did it, and we have got the credit because whatever we do, our strength is you people, the students. So chalk brood disease is still not so prevalent, but some books they are writing, it is not so. Next.
Sir, if this chalk brood disease spreads in India too, do you think it can be fatal in India?
Yeah, it can be. There are now I tell you another story. There is in late 80s they came a thigh sac brood disease. It came from Thailand. It was a brood disease. So that's why it named thigh sac brood disease. Luckily, we were students at that time. The Professor Shimanuki from one country and Aldroyd from Australia, they came by chance. They were also puzzled, what is this disease? So they wiped about 80% of the bees, but mellifera was resistant, only Sirana destroyed. That's why people started moving toward mellifera. In the long run, we go for short run. We don't have a long vision. As we have now celebrating 75 years and we have vision for 2047. So long run, you don't know. Initially, we used to hear that we will be disease free by 2001. Now we are in 2022. Still, we are not disease free regarding humans. Same is the case with the animal creatures. So it is there. Any other question?
Thank you, sir.
Right? You can ask. We are here to interact. That's why I skipped many papers, many things. Otherwise, only on pollinator one lecture, only on honey I can do one lecture, bees wax one lecture. So it is because now you know science is so fast growing that we have school of here we have school of life sciences, etc. In Western world, we have school of elephants, school of honeybees. This type of culture is coming. Even in our Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, we have this type of culture.
Yeah.
And when
Sir,
I want to tell you, when I did my PhD, there was no computer. I have to go to from Shimla to Chandigarh, and I was the first. I was actually interested in non-medical, frankly speaking. Then I came to medical because that time engineers were not having good jobs. So I used to come, and one of my friends he helped me. In the midnight, we used to get the time. There was only come, and that punching system was there. And in the month of May, we had to do the data from whole of the Himalayas. So such difficulties come, but when there is a will, there is a way. Any other question, please?
Yeah. Yeah. So last question is, what is the preference of depth of flowers by various honeybee species?
What is the preference of?
Depth of flowers. Depth.
Flowers. Yeah. Here again, it is interesting question. Different species are different. Apis dorsata are different. Apis florea are different. Apis mellifera. That's why we say now you have come to my point, which I want to emphasize. Why we should not go only for mellifera? There are many plants which are pollinated by Apis cerana because I told you micro manipulation of the flowers is better by Apis cerana as compared to Apis mellifera. And there are many because it is evolved here only. You know, indigenous species are always better. Here evolved here. So there are many crops. There is a long list of crops which cannot be pollinated by mellifera, which are pollinated by Apis cerana. And Apis dorsata have a long, you know, their mouth parts. They have a long proboscis. They can go deep. Even Apis cerana, due to small size, can go deep and can bring better nectar and pollen. And honeybees, they, as you know, we are selfish. Hen is giving egg, cow is giving milk, honeybee is giving honey for themselves only. But we have exploited all these things. Samely, honeybees does not go for pollination. It is the accidental process. They go for collection of nectar. That is the which by invertase it is the disaccharide they are converted monosaccharide. Earlier we used to say give a teaspoon of honey when new babies come, but now it has also changed that give after 1 year. Some problems make. Otherwise, I used to say always Whenever we come on this earth, we come with a spoon of honey. When we depart with a spoon of honey. And lighter side, there are two things in world which are important: money and honey. Any other question?
No, sir. Thank you, sir. That was a very
So,
informative information.
Our
Gautam, you
purpose is
permit
to
me,
disseminate.
can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Sir, can I ask one question?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Professor Mattu. It's really wonderful to hear you. And I can really see you really inspired our viewers to ask many questions. So after your talk, it was such a wonderful interaction I was hearing. Sir, I have small questions. I just want to know from my curiosity. First of all, right now, whenever we go, especially in the Himachal different part, we get honey of different flavors like lychee, neem, plum, apricot, and all these things.
Okay.
So is there a difference? Is there difference on the aroma or some nutritious or the small components? There's a difference. So is it a difference? That is one thing I want to ask. Second thing is, I've seen the journey of honey. Right, initially it was an unorganized sector. After that, it was a small cottage industry. But right now, of course, there's a great demand of honey, especially in the medicine, in the confectionery, in the cosmetics. And in fact, right now, whenever we say as sweet as honey, we always, so every household is using honey. Even I also drink a spoon of honey with the lemon and I enjoy that. So means there's an increased demand. And is the time has come that from a small cottage industry to the large sector, shall we go? Then in that case, do we have sufficient methods for quality control, for marketing, for transport, for preservation, and all these things? And another thing is there is a gap between policies making and implementation of that. So from agro-based to the large-scale industry, has the time come? So this is my curiosity, if you can.
You have asked you are welcome. I will answer in different parts. First was regarding the flavor and aroma from different plants. Honeybee, the quality of honey does not depend on the species of honeybee, whether it is Apis dorsata, Apis florea, Apis cerana, and Apis. They are just like a machinery, bringing the nectar from the flowers through anemometase, converting it to, or we say vomit out, word we use, that they convert it and it becomes honey. That's why you have seen many of the companies, like even Dabur, I should not say, have to wipe up industry from Nepal because they are not sure. They are dependent on secondary information. They took the honey from unripe honey. Otherwise, we say honey never spoils if it is ripe state. But we are not sure whether beekeeper has taken it in the ripe. When the brood cells are sealed, after that, if it is extracted, then it is ripe honey. Now, regarding flavor, some people like mild flavor honey, some like pungent, slightly pungent, as eucalyptus honey is pungent. So we have three types: unifloral, bifloral, and multifloral honey. And most of the honey which we get in the market is multifloral. That's why it is mostly dark colored. Otherwise, it is light amber colored. I told you about a plant, Plectranthus. If you sometimes, if we meet again, I will like to have for you. You will relish. When I was a student, our chairman, Professor Agarwal, he's still alive in 90s. He used to say, Bhattu sahab jaiye aur ek dabba honey ka leke aiye, because he was in US. He was so fond of it. I thought, why he is so fond of honey? At that time, we were not knowing. We are in MSc students. At that time, no such awareness also. But I used to bring sincerely. Now I realize, because one of my friend was there in beekeeping development officer, and he used to take a lot of interest. People were sincere. Now also we are sincere, but they were more sincere, frankly speaking. So he used to move the bodies at the Plectranthus flowering. And once I conducted a refresher course in Himachal Pradesh University, and by chance that time we got the Plectranthus honey. They were participants from Maharashtra, Karnataka. They wrote letters for many years, sir, thoda sa honey bhej dijiye. But that was luckily. So honey flavor and aroma, it depends on how much minerals are there. If there are more minerals, it will be dark colored. If less, then light colored. And other factors, So it is full of antioxidants. That's why there is a demand in market. Now people know antioxidants. What is the role of? Then it is a antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral. If even if you have burn on your any part, you can use honey directly. Even beeswax, if you have some fracture, beeswax can use for the cure of that. And one of my teachers in department, we have tried on him also. So there are so many important things which can be done. So are you satisfied with my answer or?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Do you ask one knowledge practice that I have told in bottlenecks? If we are good preachers and we are not good practitioners, including myself. हम प्रीच बहुत करते हैं लेकिन प्रैक्टिस नहीं करते. अगर ऐसा होता तो टुडे हम बोलते हैं कि हम विश्व गुरु बनना चाहते हैं, लेकिन तभी बनेंगे जब हम काम करेंगे. Without work we cannot be विश्व गुरु. Just by saying, even if it is 2047, we have to work hard like bees. Only then we will be from developing to developed countries. That will be achievement. But now different technologies are coming, artificial intelligence, drone technology, so many things are coming. But still, we cannot say that only this government is working or other government did not. Everybody has a vision. Everybody tried his best, but maybe with the history, they become the constraint that they may have different vision, others have different vision. But this every government in India has tried best. If we compare with Bangladesh, we have seen Lanka, what has happened. We compare with Pakistan, adjoining country, Nepal, what is the condition there, except China. China is growing at tremendous rate. That's why there was competition between China and US, and COVID is the result of that. Everybody knows that. Okay. Any other question?
No, sir. So I would like to hand over the mic to Ajita.
What a wonderful and informative day this has been. This webinar would not have been possible without the efforts of the coordinator of Eco Club, Dr. Sunil Kayast, and the convener of this webinar, Ms. Pavitra Sharma. Allow me to invite Dr. Sunil Kayast to address the gathering.
Dr. Professor Bhattu, thank you so much for delivering a fantastic talk. We are really thrilled after listening to you. We have changed our mindset about the biodiversity. We have changed our mindset about the bee. The topic you have discussed, the topic you have chose is so relevant in present day that the biodiversity loss, the industrial culture, the agriculture. So thank you so much. So on behalf of our dignitary and our fellow member and their students, I thank you, all of you, for joining this wonderful talk delivered by Professor Vinod Kumar Mattu. He is Emeritus Fellow in UGC Department of Biosciences, Himachal Pradesh University. Sir, thank you so much. Today you told us that today is a Hindi Divas, or it is very difficult us to talk in Hindi, but let me try to speak few words in Hindi as well. जिस तरह से आपने टॉक को शुरुआत किया है, इट इज वंडरफुल. चाहे वो आपने कहा बी लाइक अ बी, अब अगर जो आपको रहना है तो बी की तरह रहे, बिकॉज बी इज सोशल एनिमल. किस तरह से वो सोशली इंटैक्ट है, किस तरह से वो हार्ड वर्किंग है, कैसे वो रिस्पॉन्सिबल है फॉर प्रोड्यूसिंग आवर एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस, और कितना फूड वो प्रोड्यूस कर रही है फॉर ऑल आवर लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स. सो दे नो देयर लिमिट. यदि बी को अगर जो खुला छोड़ा जाए तो विद इन फ्यू डिकेड्स देयर बायोमास वुड बी मोर देन दिस अर्थ बायोमास. सो बट दे नो देयर लिमिट. उसके बावजूद भी कितना सहजता से वो अपना काम कर रहे हैं. सर, आपने जो बताया किस तरह से 3.5 बिलियन ईयर्स पहले हमारे सृष्टि में बायोडाइवर्सिटी का सुदर्शन हुआ, और वसुदेव कुटुंबकम की जो बात कही आपने, यस, इंडिया बिलीव इन दैट. चाहे वो हम ह्यूमन की बात करें या एनिमल्स की बात करें, वी बिलीव इन दैट. लॉर्ड कृष्णा का जिस तरह से आपने जिक्र किया है, द फर्स्ट कंजर्वेशनिस्ट जो आपने लॉर्ड कृष्णा की बात कही है वो बिल्कुल सत्य है. और then vivid use of biodiversity. Yes, sir. Let me tell you on behalf of this Deshbandhu College, I, Dr. Sunil Kayas, we are looking this Eco Club in Deshbandhu College. और देशबंधु कॉलेज ने लास्ट 2-3 years में हमारे देश बंधु कॉलेज में around 60% area has been covered under greenery. We have more than 84 species of plants. We have different variety of the animals like birds, insects all over our campus. And in fact, we would like to invite you in our campus to see the beauty of Deshbandhu College, जो पिछले कुछ सालों में हमने डेवलपमेंट किया है थ्रू इको क्लब. सर, you told that biodiversity is indispensable for the life. This is true. So उसके मद्देनजर ही हमने देशबंधु कॉलेज में अपने स्टूडेंट्स को बायोडाइवर्सिटी का कितना बड़ा रोल है, इसके तहत इको क्लब के अंदर हम इस तरह के प्रोग्राम करते रहते हैं. और आज मैं थैंक्स कहूँगा डॉक्टर द कन्वीनर ऑफ दिस प्रोग्राम कि उन्होंने इस तरह से प्रोग्राम अरेंज किया है. आपने कहा इंडिया एज अ वन ऑफ दिस हॉटस्पॉट. यस, दिस इज ट्रू. चाहे वो साउथ की बात करें, नॉर्थ की बात करें, 4 हॉटस्पॉट का आपने जो जिक्र किया है, हमारे बच्चे इससे रूबरू हो रहे हैं. हाउ रिच आर इंडिया एज अ कंट्री. सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की बात कही आपने, देन शेयरिंग फॉर रिसोर्सेज की बात कही. यस, वन इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक जैसे मैं पूछना भी चाह रहा था, ड्यू टू यूज ऑफ टॉक्सिक केमिकल्स. आजकल जैसे मैं रिसर्च आर्टिकल पढ़ रहा था, हनी के अंदर भी टॉक्सिक सब्सटेंस पाए जा रहे हैं. सो इस पे भी हमें बहुत जोर करने की जरूरत है. वी कैन नॉट कमांड नेचर बट वी हैव टू ओबे इट. यस, डेफिनेटली. सर, आपने जो रॉयल जेली या आपने जो बी प्रोडक्ट्स के बारे में बताया है, चाहे वो इंडस्ट्रियल यूज है, कॉस्मेटिक यूज है, एग्रीकल्चर यूज है, इकोनॉमिकल यूज है, तो वो बहुत ही सराहनीय है. थैंक यू सो मच सर. मैं तो चाहता हूं कि ये एक लेक्चर में नहीं इसको पिरोहा जा सकता. आपको सुनने के लिए हमें लगता है कई महीने लगेंगे. और जिस तरह से आपने इतने बड़े कॉन्सेप्ट को इतने सहज तरीके से हमें एक्सप्लेन किया है, सीरियसली मेरा भी नजरिया बदल गया है. और मैं एक्सपेक्ट करता हूँ हमारे बच्चे आने वाले टाइम पे, लेट मी शेयर विद यू दैट इन द मंथ ऑफ नवंबर वी आर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन नेचुरल प्रोडक्ट्स एंड ह्यूमन हेल्थ. और उसमें आज का जो विषय है वो बिल्कुल सटीक बैठता है. थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर कमिंग, फॉर ज्वाइनिंग एंड फॉर डिलीवरिंग अ फैंटास्टिक टॉक. थैंक यू सो मच.
Rather, I am thankful for inviting me. Although on online mode, was in my mind that I will say then one day I will visit your college offline also.
Sir, you are most welcome.
And
you are most
because actually my pen drive was not working properly, otherwise I have shown the beautiful slides that can be done on offline mode.
Sure, sir.
And I was glad to meet all communication. The basic force was Dr. Ranjana Seth. She wrote, "Can you deliver a lecture?" I said yes. Although it was delayed, and Pavitra Sharma, we communicated only on WhatsApp. We have never talked. Only yesterday we have talked just to ask the audience.
Nice.
So
Yes.
anything, I must praise her that she very coolly always write, "Sir, with regards." Or that time when lecture was there, she said one thing that, "Sir, आपका lecture करवा के रहेंगे." That time some problem came. So ultimately it is divine design that time is fixed. I believe in that because of our life of journey. Then you have given much appreciation. I don't deserve such words. You are all invited to Shimla. You will be served honey in our house only. You will
Sure,
stay
sir.
there also.
Sure,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, thank you so much, Professor Mattu and Ma'am Neelam Mattu, for gracing and giving such a informative talk. We thoroughly enjoyed. But yes, आपने जैसे बोला कि it will be so nice अगर हम लोग offline में directly बात के one-to-one correspondence से ज़्यादा one learns. So we will look forward to such a meeting, and we like to hear from you again, sir. Thank you so very much. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The event is unfortunately coming to a close end, but please allow me to invite Ms. Pavitra Sharma, convener of this webinar, to extend a vote of thanks to our honorable speaker.
Yeah, thank you, sir. A very good afternoon to all. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who work really very hard to make this webinar happen. I, Pavitra Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Deshbandhu College, on behalf of organizing team, first and foremost, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our respected speaker, Professor Vinod Kumar Mattu, who despite his busy schedule has found time to deliver such a wonderful and interesting talk. Thank you, sir. We are grateful to our principal, sir, Professor Rajiv Agarwal, for his overwhelming support and encouragement. My heartfelt thanks to our vice principal, sir, Professor Kamal Kumar Gupta, for his guidance and motivations. I owe my special gratitude to Dr. Manisha Sengha, teacher in charge, Department of Zoology, Deshbandhu College, for her valuable guidance, motivating words, and interest in the webinar. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Eco Club Coordinator, Dr. Sunil Kayas, for his guidance, Deputy Star College Scheme Coordinator, Dr. Indrakant Singh, for providing encouragement, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Aditya Saxena, for his continuous support. I wish to express my deep sense of appreciation for Dr. Monica Bajaj, Assistant Professor, Computer Science Department, for technical support. I express my gratitude to the respected faculty of Zoology Department, Professor Varsha Baveja, Dr. Rocky, Dr. Moses Lindry, and my fellow colleagues for their cooperation and valuable suggestions. An event cannot happen overnight. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate to have a very motivated and hard-working team of students who work very hard. I must acknowledge and thank our student organizer, students from BSc Honours Zoology Semester 5th, Soumya and Akash Singh Chauhan, students from the Zoology Honours Semester 3rd, Ajita Srivastava, Gautam Baveja, and Ayushi. Thank you, guys. I express my gratitude to Professor Ranjana Seth for suggesting a name of such a wonderful speaker. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my thanks to all the non-teaching staff for all the efforts they have done. Last but not the least, I am gratified to the wonderful audience present here and who have joined online for their time, enthusiasm, and their patience. I would like to apologize if I have missed someone's name. Once again, I thank each one of you for your cooperation and your contribution. Thank you all for your attention. Finally, we conclude the webinar. Thank you so much.
If there is a permission from the chair, I can speak 2 words.
Yes, sir.
That if there is a rebirth, I want to be teacher again. This is such a noble profession. And secondly, I want to thank all the students and eminent faculty as well for giving me a chance to come to this college to to address in this webinar. So thank you so much, everybody. And I again repeat, you are most welcome to our university, to our house, and you will be served with honey along with other products if we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. We have students from various years of the zoology department as well as from other science departments. We have a lot of faculty members from various science departments and non-science departments of our college. A very, very thank you to all of you. I would request you all to fill the feedback form that you can find in the chat if you so desire. And if everybody could please switch on their cameras for a minute so that we can have a photograph before we end this meeting, that would be amazing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. It was wonderful having you all here. With that, we will conclude the webinar for the day. Hope you can join us again for another day, another topic, another webinar. Thank you.
You're most
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.